had been talking for years and years about how a king was coming. It had been passed down from generation to generation. Grandpa's telling grandkids. We even heard about it in school, believe it or not. It was in the history books we studied. Everyone heard a king was coming to save God's people. But so far, every king had died. There have been some great ones and some really bad ones. What nobody expected was the way God would bring our king into the world. You see, no one was looking, and in the middle of a town called Nazareth, God began his plan. There was a girl whose name was Mary. She was engaged, promised to be married to a guy named Joseph. This guy, Joseph, was the great-great-great-great-grandson of King David. But Joseph was just a normal guy who helped people farm and build houses. One morning, when Mary was minding her own business, a light appeared, and right there in her bedroom was an angel whose name was Gabriel. He was there to tell her that God was with her, and very happy with her. He said, "Mary, you're going to have a baby, a little boy. You need to name him Jesus. He is God's son and will be the rescuer." Mary agreed and said she'd do whatever God wanted her to. But there was one problem. She wasn't married. How could she have a baby if she wasn't married? Other people would be very upset about this. But guess what? God took care of all the details. He even sent an angel to Joseph to tell Joseph that Mary was going to have the Son of God and that he needs to name him Jesus. He also needed to go ahead and get married to Mary. So Joseph did just that. The place where they lived was controlled by someone who wasn't very nice. He made them pay taxes and money to him so he could get rich. And he even wanted to know how many people lived in each place. So he sent soldiers to count the people and told everyone they needed to go to the place where they were born. So Mary and Joseph got together and loaded up their donkeys to head back to Bethlehem, the place where Joseph had been born. Over the hills and through the woods across the river they went until they got there. But when they got there, there was no place for them to stay. It was like the busiest town ever, and every room was full. You would think God would want his son to be born in the nicest hotel ever. But nope, he was happy when Mary and Joseph found a stable to rest in, along with the cows, donkeys, goats, pigs, and sheep. While all of this was going on, nearby to Bethlehem, a bright star appeared in the sky and made all the other ones look lame. It was the brightest star ever, and God has a big surprise in store. He wanted everyone to know his son was coming, so he put a big choir of angels together to go tell some people. So where would a big choir go? To a big concert hall? A palace? Nope. God sent them to sing for a raggedy old bunch of shepherds watching their sheep outside of Bethlehem. In those days, remember, people used to laugh at the shepherds and say they were smelly and call them names. People thought shepherds were nobodies, just scruffy old riffraff. But God must have thought shepherds were very important indeed, because they're the ones he chose to tell the good news to first. Sure enough, they were out in the cold that night when all of a sudden the angel choir appeared and said, "Today in David's town, Bethlehem, God's son has been born. Go see him. Glory to God in the highest, peace on earth, goodwill to men." There were also these other guys. We call them wise men. Basically, these guys were super smart about everything. They knew about stars, politics, cities, traveling, and all of the history you can imagine. When the star popped up in the sky showing Jesus had been born, these guys knew right away what it was, and they got super excited. I bet they were saying, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, he's here, he's here." They had been waiting for the star to pop up and knew it was about a king. So they packed up their camels, loaded all their tents, and took with them gifts that were important enough to be for a king. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. We know what gold is, but frankincense and myrrh were really good smelling sparkly stuff. Across the desert, over the mountains, through the valleys and rivers they went. Meanwhile, in the stable, God had given his most wonderful gift, the baby that would change the world, his baby son. In the middle of the stable, around all the animals, Mary wrapped him up in some cloths and put him in a trough with some straw used for animals. They named him Jesus, Emmanuel, which means God is with us. And it started there. The wise men came to worship him. The smelly, stinky shepherds showed up too. And there it was, the beginning of Jesus coming to rescue the world. But this isn't the whole story. You see, the story continues. The wise men told people about Jesus coming to rescue them by being a servant. So did the shepherds, and more people heard about Jesus. And here you are, hearing about him today. You see, Jesus came, he died, and he rose again to live the life we could not live. And he died the death that we deserve. But the story continues. Jesus gave us his spirit. to be inside of us, so that no matter where we go, no matter who we meet, no matter where we are, the story of how he came to save the world can keep going. There may not be a star anymore, or wise men, or shepherds even, but there's you. And he came to save you, and to have you tell others all about who Jesus is, the rescuer of the world. So what's your part in the story?
Good job.
Great job.
Great job, Blakely. Well, hey.